asking for a friend. We want to tackle in May those questions that many of us have, those doubts that we are unsure if we say them out loud, if someone is going to judge us, or if they're going to think that we're not Christians, or are we allowed to ask these things in church? So asking for a friend, when we tackle different things. 3 of the things that we spoke about, the first one was, what do I do when I feel like giving up? Many of us feel like giving up, and we're like, what, do we just give up? Like, what happens and all of that? If you didn't listen to that message, you can go into our website. What do I do when God feels silent? Like, sometimes it feels like I'm asking, and he's not answering. Last week, Pastor John spoke about, what do I do when life is not fair? And today, we have another question, which is literally, I'm just asking for a friend. Why is it so hard to have good relationships? Why is it so hard to have good relationship? This isn't just a marriage, but it will benefit your marriage. It's not just a marriage topic. It's if you're in a relationship with your children, if you're in a relationship with your parents, with your in-laws, with your college, with your boss. If you have friends, or maybe you have none. Why is it so hard to have good relationships? And can I just give you a tip? The older you become, the harder it is. My kids make friends at any single avenue and venue and event. I just met, these are my friends. I'm like, I wish it was that easy for us. I see hundreds of people on weekend, and I'm like, cheers. Like, I like it that way. The introvert side of me loves it that way. Bye-bye, see you. Maybe never, but, you know? It's okay, this is a safer space. This is a safer space. You can breathe in, and it's okay, Michael. I will hear you. Oh, thank you, Paul. Okay, you guys are just making it weird now. Anyway, I do want to let you in on something. It is a myth to think that the right person is going to fix all your problems. It is a myth. It is a lie from the enemy that we all buy. I don't know if you can call it Disney movie. That's not a thing anymore. Netflix movie. You can call it Showmax series, whatever it is. But it's a myth that if you find the right person, all the problems go away. I don't know if it happens to you. You thought your boss was a terrible person, and then you moved jobs and you still had issues. And you're like, oh, this boss is also an issue, but the next one, right? Right? You maybe were dating someone and you thought, yo, no. And then you move to the next relationship, like, they must be friends. They must be connected. Right? Only to discover that maybe it's not just the right person that creates the issue. We have to start opening our eyes to what really is in it. So 2 things that I want to mention. God created us in relationship and for relationship from the beginning. It's a godly thing. Relationships are a godly thing. We saw it in the pandemic time. It is not good for us to be in isolation. We can't handle it. We were not made that way. So in Genesis, right at the beginning of the Bible, if you don't know what Genesis is, it's the first book after the list of where you find the books. Genesis. I know many of you go to your app. You don't even know what a real book feels like anymore. Genesis 1. It says, then God said, let us make mankind into our image. I don't know if you're anything like me, but if I read something, I don't wait until the end of the verse to ask questions. I'm like, let us. Who is us? No, not you. You guys would know. Wow, you were in Genesis. Okay, next level. I meant, yes. Let us. God was speaking to someone. And he wasn't speaking to you because you were not there yet. You were there in his thought, but not visibly for him to speak to you. So when he says, let us, he was already in relationship with the Son and the Spirit. So he's having a conversation. He's not having personality issues, like, let us make, oh yes, let's do that. He wasn't doing that. They were in community, in relationship. So he's telling, what about this? Hey, Holy Spirit, Jesus, what do you think if we make people into our image? We are in relationship. They will be in relationship. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, God created them. Male and female, he created them. The Bible doesn't have a repetition problem. He's just making sure that you understand that God created them. He created us in relationship and for relationship from the beginning. So if you are saying, God called me to live in a mountain away from everybody, is here. The second thing is the enemy is against that relationship from the beginning. So God has this plan to be in relationship with us, and the enemy decides, I don't like that. So he comes against that from the beginning. 2 chapters later, in Genesis 3, it says, now the serpent was more crafty than any of the other wild animals the Lord had made. And he said to the woman, did God really say you must not eat from any of the tree in the garden? And then most of you know what happened next. And if you don't, spoiler alert, they do eat from the tree that they were told not to eat. These are not kids, they were adults. They eat from this tree, and then nonsense happened. Then God comes into the garden, and then the man and his wife heard the son of the Lord God that he was walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and they hid from the Lord God among the trees of the garden. Then God asked Adam, not Adam and Eve, Adam. I can actually picture your brother now that I say that. It sounded like how we call him when he did something. Where are you? He answered, I heard you in the garden. I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid. And he said, who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from? The man said, yes, I did, God. Sorry I didn't listen to you. I should have put my foot down and follow what you said. Right? No. End of the story. No. He said, the woman you put here with me. The double aggression of this verse. Right? Passive aggressively saying, not only you, buddy, you, God, put her here. The one, your plan. She made me eat it. Force it down my throat. She gave me some of the fruit of the tree, and I ate it. Then the Lord God said to the woman, what is this that you have done? And the woman said, got it wrong, listened to the wrong voices, shouldn't have put my husband into this, but here we are. Sorry. No, she was like, oh, if he's blaming me, I'm going to blame the next one. So it's the serpent. Do you see how the relationship started with Adam and Eve walking in the garden with God? Every day in communion, the enemy comes and attacks that. So the first breakage you see is the relationship between Adam and Eve and God breaks. We're no longer waiting for God to be in communion, we're actually hiding. And then the second relationship, because if that relationship is not in right standard, then the next relationship breaks in. This community, Adam and Eve, husband and wife, because at that point there was not signing marriage, they were not needed contract. They were married because they consummated the marriage. If you're under 16, ask your parents. So they were married. Now this relationship breaks in. The enemy comes to attack the relationship from the beginning. So not all the time we can blame the enemy. Like you. Don't pull to your wife that sentence, the woman that you gave me. That is not going to end up well, and I'm not coming to get you out of that one. But we do need to understand that it is hard to have good relationship, but it is possible. And why? Why is it hard to have good relationship? I have 4 reasons. I mean, there are many more, and probably you could add your own reasons, but we're going to tackle 4. The first one is we carry the past into the present. And if you were wondering what this luggage is for, yes, we are going to Cape Town. But that's not what it's for. It's because I want you to remember, in every relationship, not just marriage too, but not just marriage, in your working relationship, in your family dynamics, the relationship with your kids. I don't know if you're a parent and you have ever been in that space when you hear your parents are speaking through you. And you are like, oh, I heard my mother. It is a terrifying thing. I mean, my mother is a beautiful woman. I'm just saying, I never thought that I was going to be my mother. And now I hear my mother and I'm like, oh, mother, I know what you went through. Anyway, we carry the past into the future. We bring, and depends how Christian you are or how honest you are, you will get like a midget size, or some of us really have like 3-4 different, like the whole set of bags. And we carry it with us wherever we go. So we come into this relationship, and this bag, if it makes you feel any better, there's reasons why. There's reason why we come with luggage, because it is an imperfect world. Because we mess up from the beginning, which means our parents mess up from the beginning. So maybe the house that you were brought up was not the best living condition. Maybe you had a single mom. Maybe your dad was gone. Maybe they were divorced. Maybe there was rejection. Maybe they preferred the other sibling. There could be multiple reasons why. Reality is we bring this luggage and we take it wherever we go. So I go to work and they overlook me and they treat better the person next to me. Oh no, it's not my luggage. It's the boss. They're racist, or they're like sexist, or ageist. I don't know if it is a thing, but like, because they're younger, so that's why they're looking at them. And but it's not this, it's that. And then we go into a relationship, and the more relationship we have, which is scary, the more things we put in the bag. The more trust and distrust and lies and fears, because we don't deal with it, so we come with this into the relationship. So we think the other person is perfect, then we figure out they're not. And then we start bringing all of this with us into the relationship. And we go, wherever we go with this. We carry the past into the present. Whatever happened to us in our past comes with us. And if you're not going to make an effort to be honest, like you can't tell me you don't have luggage. Like no matter how you love Jesus, if you try to get ready this morning for church, you got some luggage. You were shouting at someone drove in front of you. We literally spoke to 3 different couples saying, I don't know what it's about Sundays, but we always argue on the way to church. And I said to my husband, on the way here, we saw a couple, not from this church, so don't worry. But there were signs and wonders going in that car. And I'm just like, I don't want to be in that car. So remind me when we are arguing, not to argue while we're driving, but if I do, to hide my hands. Because they were going. She was like directing traffic non-stop. And I'm like, oh my goodness, if I argue with my husband in the car, which I never do, obviously, I must just hide my hands. Because it's very obvious. So just tip for you, if you don't want us to know that you are arguing, hide your hands. Because in my case, if I have my hands, my face will say it anyway, my love. So sorry, there is no outing. So we carry the past into our present. That's number 1. Number 2, communication and vulnerability are tough. They're even tough to say. Try to say that word really fast. Vulnerability. Don't show off. Especially if you're in the first service, you don't count. You get a second round. If you're for England, you also don't count, because you're just too good at English. But communication and being vulnerable are difficult. We struggle to listen properly. Okay, some of you need to confess. We really struggle to listen properly. You don't need much. Go to a school when a teacher is trying to explain the homework to kids, primary school or high school. And then they go home, no, the teacher didn't say anything. Be in a relationship with your husband. Well, hopefully you are. But you're trying to give things, and then you get this question of like, oh, what are we doing after church? I thought, how often I say to my family, we spoke about this. So now we do Google Calendar. We speak about it, and we put it on our calendar, so then you don't have to, you didn't tell me that, Have you tried with your kids to tell them to do something? We just don't listen. Communication is difficult. We don't know how to express ourselves. Between the luggage that we bring and how we communicate, it makes it very difficult to communicate with other people. Again, our marriage will always be a good example for preaching purposes. My husband processes as he speaks, which will get him in trouble with his kids often, because he will say things as they come. And when they come out, the kids will be like, oh, that's not nice. Or he will say, let's use a nice example. He will be like, I feel like takeaways. So I know him because I've been living with him for 13 years. I have 25 minutes if I start. No, actually, you know what? We don't have enough time to unpack the luggage here. So I know so I dig, like, what do you mean? And I ask questions, and normally it means that he's just not in the mood to cook. That's what he means. For my kids, you say that word, that means that we are going to McDonald's after service. You know what I'm saying? They just hear that. Now we have discovered that by the grace of God. And we know the thing. So when my husband makes a comment like that, we're all like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Before we get excited, what do you mean? What are you saying? What are we doing? Well, in my case, I process everything inside my head. That's why I get headaches so often. And then it comes out. So when I have said something, I have gone through it in my head about that one conversation probably 10 to 15 times. Sometimes more. If it's a difficult conversation, definitely more. And if something doesn't come out right, then I will torture myself for the next 3 months after that on how I should have said, because I'm internal process information. Now it's very funny to marry someone that does not communicate like that. It's a lot of fun. Because, it's like the back and forwards of what do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? That just happens a lot in our house. But communication and being vulnerable are not easy things. Especially if you have been vulnerable to someone before and they have used it to their advantage. If they have broken trust. If you say something and then you hear it somewhere there and you're like, wait, what that meant to? It's going to be difficult. So that makes our communication even more impossible. Why is it hard to have good relationships? Because communicating and being vulnerable are tough. Number 3, unrealistic expectations get in the way. You know what we say about Netflix movies and all of that? They come with subtle messages all the time. And when you see in your life, those subtle messages are not representing in your life. Like, he doesn't read my mind. I was hoping he would come with the flowers home today. And he actually is tired, sitting in the couch, scrolling on the phone. Unrealistic expectations can get in the way. We also get in relationships, whether it is marriage or dating sometimes, or it's maybe work relationship, where we think that the right person is going to fix a situation. They come with like the manual to fix what's wrong. My right boss will put me on the right place and I will flourish. My right boyfriend or girlfriend is going to bring the best out of me and it's going to be beautiful. It's unrealistic. We often sit with couples that are about to get married and we try to be very nice and break it down for them. If your expectations are here, and in general it's like, haha, that happens to you guys, but not to us because we're different, we're special, we love each other, we're red butterflies and, God brought us together, it's not, And then 3 months later, we meet with them. Right? Unrealistic expectations, they get in the way. And that pressure leads us to be disappointed. And when you're disappointed on someone, it makes you disconnect with them. Unrealistic expectation. I said it on the first service. I really think that I'm one of the best parents that is walking earth right now. I really do. So I will have 10 kids if my husband will just say yes. God is speaking, or Callum, one of the two. But I really do think we have a solid foundation, we're intentional, we're Christian, we love God, we love each other. This is a perfect time. I can tell you, the more or less, that cute kid in the video, let's give and take 3 years, 4 years, if God is good, he will tell me a different story about what a good mother I am. Because he's going to go in that beautiful age, which is called adolescent. Teenagers, yeah. Where all of a sudden they have discovered the world. And they know things that we don't. And he's going to say, he doesn't have the best mother, right? Unrealistic expectations. Number 4, love grows through practice. If you want to have intimacy with anyone, even in the friendship level, you have to build it through consistent effort. You can't flourish in a friendship when you are seeing one another once a year, every 6 months. And I actually literally sent someone a meme 2 nights ago about how adult friendships become that. I'll see you in December 15. Because that's what it has come to in our modern world. That is not consistent effort. There's no friendship that can be built on that. There's no marriage that can be built on that. There's no good family relationship. You can't see your parents once a year. John? consistent effort. Also, what it doesn't help is if we live on a distracted world. Have you noticed how many distractions come your way? And I'm not talking about distractions with female distractions or male distractions. I'm talking about just that advert that pops up in your phone, that you're trying to look at someone and then behind it's just a flashing thing, and then there's your kids. It is so difficult to have a one-on-one conversation without being interrupted by something. But connection is built, not found. If you want to be serious about your relationship and having a good relationship, you have to understand that it's not something that you just Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, I'm trying to connect. Oh, here is the best person I'm going to connect and not have an issue forever. No, you're going to have to build the connection every day with trust. You're not going to find that connection, you're going to build it. Let's read from the Amplified version. And I love this chapter because it has spoken to me so much, so I'm going to let you suffer with me. Because why would I suffer alone? 1 Corinthians 13, in the Amplified version, verse 1 says, if I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but I do not have love for others growing out of God's love for me. So not your own love, but the love of God growing inside of you. Then I have become only a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal, just an annoying distraction. I don't know if you have been fortunate enough to have someone at your house that is trying to learn an instrument, and then they get into that point where it just becomes that. That's what we sound like when we can actually speak all the beautiful languages, but we have no love, according to the Bible. Verse 2, if I have the gift of prophecy and I speak a new message from God to the people and understand all the mysteries and possess all the knowledge, imagine that. Any question, I will be like Google 2 or ChatGPT in this stage. If I'm like ChatGPT and I have all the answers, all the knowledge, if I have faith that I can remove mountains, but do not have love reaching out to others, I am nothing. If I give all my possessions to feed the poor, not just 10%, not just 1%, not what I have in my wallet, if I give all my possessions to feed the poor, and I surrender my body to be burned, that's dramatic. But do not have love, it does me no good at all. This is the emphasis that God is putting in love. Love endures with patience and serenity. Love is kind and thoughtful. It is not jealous or envious. Love does not brag, it's not proud or arrogant, it is not rude, it's not self-seeking, it is not provoke, not overly sensitive or easily anger. Sorry, I think I need to go back to that one again. Not overly sensitive and easily anger. Let it sink. Let the word of God wash over you. It does not take into account a wrong endure. In other words, it doesn't go back to, oh, but I forgave this, and I did that, and you did this. It does not rejoice at injustice, but rejoice with what is truth. When right and truth prevail, love bears all things. Not just your luggage. Love bears all things, regardless of what it comes. Believes all things, looking for the best in each one. Hopes all things, remains steadfast during difficult times, doesn't run away, endures all things without weakening. Love never fails, it never fades nor ends. And my favorite verse in this passage, when I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I did away with childish things. Some of us in our relationships are not doing away with childish things. We often have sit-downs with couples and just trying to check in, or even adult friendship, parents and kids. It's not just a marriage thing, but in multiple situations, it comes down to if you could just do away with the childish things. If it wasn't like we treat our kids like that, and then we almost can use the same principles when we deal with adults. And I'm not just talking about you guys and not us. I'm talking about even in our relationship. Sometimes like, whoa, we acting like kids now. You shouting, you're not listening. I'm shouting, I'm not listening. Well, if you don't listen, I'm off. Like, okay, how old are we? We're not 12. Let's do away with the childish things. So often, when our kids have an argument and we're like, okay, and then they will both come and shout, but she said, and I said, and she did, and he did, and he and I didn't, and then you have to like let them get it out, and then be like, okay, did someone die? And then they roll their eyes. And I was like, exactly. So now we can calm down and work on what's really the issue. I feel like sometimes we need to understand that, when you were a child, it was okay to throw a tantrum and walk off and then slam the door. Or if you were my husband on our first year of marriage, drive away really fast, making a noise so that I could hear his anger through the tires. Right? Half Portuguese, my love, half Portuguese. The Argentinian in me loves smacking doors. And my doors didn't make enough noise. So, do you think I was going to give it up that easy? No. I will reopen the door. And then close it again. It was our first year of marriage, so calm down. If you're not married, it's part of the fun, and you will use it one day in a preach, and it will be beautiful, and everybody will laugh. If you are married for many days, if you're still doing that, we will talk afterwards. And I used to open and close the door until he got the point of how angry I was, because he made me angry. I used to say in the first year of marriage, you make me this angry. So now you need to do something to undo this angry me. He'd be like, but I say sorry. I'm like, that's not enough. Do something else. And he had to go over and over and over until I realized that maybe that anger that I was talking about was something that I brought with me into the marriage. That he's not the one that made me angry, although he's not the one that made me angry, but it was actually that anger that I brought with me, that he was almost like poking this luggage and then it will just like come out. So until I actually realized that, our marriage was beautiful. Still is. So if God's plan is for us to be in a good relationship with Him and with others, what can we practically do? I'm glad you asked. I have 4 things for you. What can you practically do? There were 4 points before, and there are 4 points today. Number 1, take ownership of your luggage. You know how many things we have in Lost and Found? Church has a lost and found. I mean, you literally hear once a week for an hour and a half, and we have lost and found. It amazes me. School has lost and found. Lots and lots. Bags. So now they decided they're selling that lost and found to the parents. They lost their stuff at a cheaper price. Lost and found. We struggle to recognize these things are ours. We want to blame it on her. We want to blame it on our parents. We want to blame it on our boss. We want to blame it on... But never take ownership of, yes, I brought this anger with me into the relationship. I brought this insecurity with me into the relationship. I brought this trust issue that I have into the relationship. So when you go there, there's something very raw that you are touching. That's why I'm reacting. Rather than, it is you, buddy. And the next buddy is not going to make me angry and have a 6-pack. Number 2, so take ownership of your luggage. If you need to unpack it, it will be about right. Some of us get on holidays and unpack our luggage straight away. That's the right way of doing it. Why will you leave stuff festering inside there? Unpack it, heal with it, deal with it, let it go. If it's more than 3 months, I will say it's good to go. Some of you are having, but when I was a child, 20 years ago. You're not a child anymore. Number 2, learn to communicate well. And I'm going to say it again, learn to communicate well. You weren't given that talent. Doesn't matter how good you think you are, you were not given naturally the talent to communicate. You have to learn. Learn to communicate well and be vulnerable well. A lot of us think that being vulnerable is putting a status on WhatsApp that we hope that our spouse will read and understand that we're talking about him. That is not being vulnerable. A lot of us will phone our parents and tell them how terrible our spouse are, or our in-laws are, or our bosses are. But we will say nothing to the person in question. That is not being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is also not manipulative. Saying, well, I just want to tell you that as a husband, you suck. The God chose you to lead this family, and you're not leading us anywhere. Like, whoa, now we're using the Bible to like, what? You know that the Bible goes there and comes back? So whatever you're using that way is coming back to you, and you better duck because it's coming. Learn to communicate well and be vulnerable well. Number 3, set godly but realistic expectations. We are not saying don't have expectations. If you are single and ready to mingle, you should have the highest expectation to meet a godly person that will love God and love you like crazy. I'm not saying lower your expectations. I'm saying let them be godly. Oh, he must be a millionaire, he must have this, he must drive that. She must be like 60 max weight, and she must cook for me and go to gym and raise the kids. Like, I'm talking about godly and realistic expectations. I'm not kidding. I met a guy that he will not marry anyone that didn't go to gym and had a specific weight. And he was a Christian that loved God. I'm like, I pray that God will send you the biggest. I know, I wasn't as Christian before. Sorry. I don't think he's married yet. He's probably like 50 and still not married. Shame. Anyway, sorry, God. Set godly but realistic expectation. You should have me as a friend. I will make sure that your expectations are right. Number 4, be consistent in pursuing godly and good relationships. This one that touches me a little bit because I honestly suck at it. I would love to have friends. I would love to have people around. I just suck at the following up. Someone told me this morning, was it you that's supposed to reply or was it me? I'm like, let me get back to you on the next 3 business day and I will see. If it was me, I'm sorry. If it was you, shame on you. But setting consistent targets on being good at pursuing godly relationships. We were not made to be alone or to go through stuff alone. So if you know that you need a friend, go find it. I'm just like, God, you can just send them. Like, ta-da, just send them. Why must I make the effort? My kids go to a party and they make friends. It's the weirdest thing ever. They go to school. Oh, there was a new kid at school. It's my friend now. I'm like, wow. I'm just taking like 3 to 6 months, finding the background check, police records. Oh, you think I'm not gonna, you want to be my friend? I'm going to check your police records. And if you have something to hide, then, you know. But you got to be consistent in pursuing godly relation. You saying we should get together, and I'm not going to look at anyone because I know I say that all the time. We should get together sometime. It's not consistent. It's not effort. I'm going to send you a message for us to, it is not consistent. It's not an effort. Be consistent in pursuing godly and good relationships, no matter which aspect it is. I'm going to ask the Holy to come and make this a little bit holy because the people are getting out of hand here. And as he plays, I want to read to you Corinthians 13, as we read earlier, but on the Message Bible. Love this translation. Verse 8 says, love never dies. Love never dies. And it's a beautiful thing to hang on to. If your marriage is struggling, if you don't have a good relationship with your kids, if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, love never dies. The love of God never dies. There is always hope. Verse 11 says, when I was an infant at my mother's breast, I gurgled and cooed like an infant. When I grew up, I left those infant ways for good. Maybe this morning all we need is just kind of grow up and leave the childish ways. And verse 13 says, but right now, until that completeness, we have 3 things to do to lead us toward that consummation. Trust steadily in God. And some of us, we just need to get back to trust steadily. Not like, I trust you, I don't trust you. I trust you, I don't trust you. Trust steadily in God. Hope unswervingly. I hope and I don't hope. I hope and I don't hope. I believe in, no. Love extravagantly. You know what? I said on the first service, love the nonsense out of people. You can never go wrong loving the nonsense out of people. And out of these 3, the best is love. Asking for a friend, why is it so hard to have good relationships? It is hard. It is difficult. But with God, we can do this. With God, we can have the best relationship, thriving relationship. We can love our in-laws. We can respect our bosses. We can have good college relationships. We can have the best marriage here in Krugersdorp. It is possible because God says it is possible.